Folakemi, Madam Folakemi, Mrs. Sparkles, good morning, Mrs. Linda, good morning, Ayanate, Zeal, good morning. I hope it is the same Mr. Zeal that I know. Good morning, nice having you all here. We have Mr. Ebuka, the boys coach in the house already. He's one of our speakers. While we are await Dr. Princess Olufemi Kayode. It's nice having you guys around. Again, this family meeting is family meeting. And we all know that family is the smallest unit of the society. We call it the production factory of the society. And we are the ones that produce the people operating in the society. That's a family produce the people operating in the society. And if you're not producing if you're not giving out the right products, you have the aftermath in how the society is being run. And this is one of the reasons why we have family meetings. Family meetings is for family members. We have the same vision of starting a community, a tribe of families where what we produce, a tribe of families where we want to produce awesome children. We want to produce people, adults or children that are normal, that are awesome, that are rational, people that want to do the right thing in the society. And so we think at Family Center, we just think we can start a community of our own, saying that this is our community, we're training our children, starting our own culture, good culture that produce awesome children, culture that produce world changers, culture that produce influencers, and not children that are abused, that now grow up to become threats to the society, not angry or depressed adults in the society. We want to produce world changers, the ones that can think and be themselves, not the one that has been domesticated. And this is one of the reasons why we have family meeting. So I welcome you once again to family meeting, the May edition. Yeah, we have Dr. Princess in the house. Good morning, ma'am. Nice having you here, ma.
Good morning, and thanks for having me. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for coming. So in family meetings, we raise topics that are unique, topics people don't really pay attention to, topics that when you see those topics being discussed on social media, you wonder if those people are talking from a place of hurt or they are trying to solve a problem. And this is why we have this family meeting, where we bring professionals to help us handle topics and give us rational explanation, logical explanation, scientific explanation to those topics. And this is why we are here. In January, we treated setting family goals. In March, in February, we did married but not single, and we have not recovered from that in my organization. We still have people calling in for counseling and all. And in March, we did co-parenting. That's another touching topic we treated in the month of March, where we had Sumbo Adeoye. Sumbo Adeoye is baby mama to Two-Face Idibia, and she came to share her story on how she is co-parenting well with Two-Face Idibia. And she shared her story, and she gave advice to the people that were around that day. In April, we had a collaboration with the Institute of Family Institute of Family Engineering and Development, where we treated a topic on couple and their fertility. This is because we start having issues of families breaking, homes breaking due to the fact that the wife is not able to give birth to a child. And we felt, okay, there are other options to this. Why are you not trying IVF, surrogacy, and adoption? And we had people in the room to discuss all this. And we had a counselor too on the platform. and she has started working. In fact, the last time I spoke with her, she's been overwhelmed with the number of people that come for counseling, and the doctors are also doing well. And so this month, the month of May, we have decided to treat the topic, Save the Boy Child. This is because May 16 is the day we celebrated the International Boy Child Day, International Day of the Boy Child. And, you know, when I posted something about the International Day of the Boy Child, people started asking questions. People did not really know that boy child are being celebrated. And that is a pointer, and that's like one of the reasons why we have to take this very, very serious, because a lot of issues are being raised, a lot of organizations are springing up to talk about the girl child, and it's very important we talk about the boy child, the girl child, but there's also the need to talk about the boy child. And to some extent, I don't think we have, even in the international body, we don't have funding. I don't think we have too much funding for bringing up the boy child, for bringing up the boy child development or something. I don't think we have a lot. And so we need to talk about this. We need to talk about the sexual abuse and everything. The truth of the matter is, the survey has also shown that the rate at which girls are being abused, the same rate boys are being abused. And we are not talking about that. But we need to start talking about that, because if care is not taken, these empowered girls, we meet disempowered men whose boyhood has been truncated. And their boyhood has been truncated, they have been compromised, and they become husbands to this girl child you're training, this girl child you're developing. And your guess is also my guess. You can imagine what will happen in that kind of environment where we have the girl child empowered, cultured, trained, and all, and the boy child is coming from a place of abuse, dysfunctional environment. He does not know how to manage his emotions and all. So you can imagine what will happen in that kind of a marriage. And that is why we need to start talking about the boy child too. And that is why we are raising a community of families that are raising their boys in the right way. And this morning, I have with me two people that are in the field. So I'm trying to get the profile. Okay, so I have two people here. You saw their pictures on the flyers. I have Ebuka in the house. Ebuka is a founder of Save the Boys Initiative. And I have Dr. Princess. Dr. Princess is a phenomenal woman. She is very passionate about helping the abused children. We're not going to talk about abuse alone. She is also a mother, and she has the experience of bringing up boy child. And she's experienced, and that is why I have invited her. So for two reasons: she's a mother, she's experienced. So I'm going to read their profile and we'll kickstart. I know that it is Saturday, people want to go for Owambe and all. And so we're not going to take your time. It's also Saturday, people want to do cleaning. So I have here Ebuka Obika Ede, Boys Development Coach and the founder of Save the Boys Initiative. He's into boys development and youth mentoring. He does this through mentoring, coaching, and training them in life, leadership, and purpose. And also by acting as parent partner. He sees to the total development of the boys and advocates of their well-being. He has certificates in emotional intelligence and organizational leadership. For over a decade, he has taught boys, teenagers, and youth in a unique, practical, and humorous way to learn personal responsibilities and self-develop and self-leadership. He is a speaker of youth conferences, seminars, schools, youth and parent platform. He also offers consultancy services for individuals and families. As a way of sharing feedback from his experience with the boys, he convened the Boys Leadership Academy, Total Men online summit on his community on Facebook called Connect Mentoring Community. He runs mentoring clubs for boys and convened the annual International Boys Conference as one of his platforms. In fact, as a matter of fact, last week they had the International Boys Conference, and it was a phenomenal gathering. Thank you so much, Ebuka, for all you do. He is happily married to Ruth, and their union is over 4 years and is blessed with one biological daughter and many foster sons. Please welcome everybody. I want you to show Ebuka our family love by just saying, welcome, we love you. Thank you for all you do in the chat box. Let's love up on Ebuka in our chat box. Thank you. As you do that, I'm looking forward to see all those chats. Let's love up on Ebuka. Ebuka, thank you for all you do. And I also have Dr. Princess. I call her Dr. Princess. She's Princess Olufemi Kayode. She's a Nigerian criminal justice psychologist, a consultant. She is a trainer, a prominent child rights activist, an experienced sexual gender-based violence management consultant. She is a writer and an entrepreneur. She became an ASOCA Fellow in 2007. She is the Executive Director of Media Concern for Women and Children Initiative, MediaCon, a non-profit organization listed by the UNDP, which works with children victims of sexual abuse and exploitation. She is an international speaker and lover of children. People, can you welcome with me Dr. Princess? Dr. Princess is a very passionate woman with anything she does, she's very passionate about it. I want you to welcome Dr. Princess in our chat box while we kickstart the day's meeting. Welcome, Dr. Princess. Nice having you, ma'am.
Thank you very much for having me. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Nice having you. Can we see your face now?
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me. Glad to be here. Good morning. Well done.
Good morning. Yeah, well done for all you do for the boys.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you very much. So this morning, I said in our own family, this is a family. As a family, we want to build a healthy community. And that is why we always have this family meeting every month. Our family meeting is every last Saturday of the month. And this is why we are here today. Today, we want to talk about the boy child. We're going to talk from 3 perspectives: the scripting of the boy child, the emotions of the boy child, and the abuse of the boy child. So I'm going to be asking you questions, and from your wealth of knowledge, we want to learn from it. Raising a boy child now, a lot is happening. So culturally, the boy child is scripted differently from the girl child. The girl child is scripted to be a wife to a man. So if the girl cannot sweep well, they tell her, you better learn how to sweep, or you better sweep this thing well, because that's how you go and sweep in your husband's house. That's the scripting. And if you agree with me, unconsciously, that is the way we grow, because that is the conditioning. But the boy child is scripted differently. You know, he's allowed to go and play ball, come back to eat. In fact, if possible, not to wash the plates, just leave it. But you know, this generation of parents, we are trying to tell the young mothers that, see, that's not the best way. Let them cook, let them know how to cook, let them. So that's a scripting. And so you see the boy child grow up to kind of see the girl child as a second class citizen, somebody you use. because he's been trained to be in charge. You're going to be the one that you have money so that you can control. That's a scripting. So I want to ask, how do we raise? So what are the things? So Ebuka, you have worked with quite a number of boys. What are those things, those traits you see? What are those things you see, those traits? You understand what I said about the socialization of the boy child and the girl child? And that's what we do culturally. So what do you think about that structure, that scripting, and how has that affected some of the boys you have interacted with?
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much. This is a large family meeting, and I appreciate the great work you're doing in this space. Thank you, Dr. Princess. I'm glad being on the same platform with you. Well done, you're a great woman. Wow, boys. Where do I start from? Yeah, the truth is that society is suffering from the. Can you hear me clearly? Can you
loud and clear.
Okay.
Yeah, loud and clear.
The truth is that the society is suffering from the ripple effects of these socializations that we've raised our boys into, and we are trying to correct something that has really eaten deep and is becoming really, really difficult. I wrote an article last month when we are doing a webinar on emotionally healthy boy, and I talked about how I saw a boy. I was walking down the street and I saw a boy crying, and I saw how the father yelled at him and said, "Why are you crying like a girl?" You know, and I saw how the father was screaming vehemently on the boy. And that is what we have seen in the society. When these boys begin to grow up, we say, "Why are you crying like a girl? Are you not a man? Men, boys don't cry." You know, we say these things, but it's happened every day. And these boys that that are so expressive at 1 or 2, jumping everywhere, but suddenly you discover that there's a change all of a sudden. What has happened? They are beginning to enter into the mood where they're telling them, "No, a boy, why are you jumping everywhere? Why are you crying? Why are you shouting?" So you can see a 2-year-old boy, a 1-year-old boy is coming, "Mommy, this person did this to me, this person did." They're always coming to tell you what is going on. But suddenly that stops, because when they keep coming, "Why are you always complaining like a girl? Why are you always talking like a girl? You're a man, you have to man up." And before you know it, a boy that used to be expressive at 2, at 5, 6, 7, 8 is beginning to be quiet, keep quiet when somebody hurts him. Instead of him coming to talk to somebody, he hits the person and finds his way, because nobody listens. If they say, "I shouldn't talk," a boy should not talk. And unconsciously, we begin to form these our boys into this mode. We feel like, "You're a strong man, my son." And when that guy is a teenager, and he's not challenging you as a mother, or he's not talking about issues that he's not going through, say, "My boy is not talking. Nobody knows what is going on with you. Nobody knows what is happening to you. You're not talking. What kind of a man are you? You are struggling and you are quiet." By the time that guy gets married and the wife come back to report to you as a parent, "Your son is not talking, he's this, he's that," and you keep complaining. I tell parents, but you were the one unconsciously formed that boy into this mood, because at that phase of life when they are young, they are still forming, and whatever we inculcate into them stays with them for life. So most of the things we are seeing in our society today, we see leaders that don't have empathy, compassion. They say, "Why is our leader like that? People are crying and they're quiet. They're not even saying anything. They don't care." That is how we raise them. We raise them to just be quiet when people are crying and shouting and just look, because they are men. We raise them not to cry, not to show emotion. So when our leaders are not showing emotions and not showing empathy, it just shows that that is how we have raised them as a society. So most times we begin to suffer for the ripple effect of this damage, but we are not going back to say, "Let's correct this menace from the foundation." So we have seen a lot of young men grow up, become so toxic, become so violent, become so aggressive. They are not talking. You see, a man is dying with a health condition and is quiet until it's chronic and is losing breath before he speaks. These are socialization and things that the society and the culture has formed in the mind of our boys. So when you are saying that to your 2-year-old, 3 years old, don't think he's just a child. Oh, it's just a child. Keep quiet, man. You know, when that boy is there and all the girls are walking in the house and he just relaxed. He's my only son. You know, you're a man. Your father comes back and he just to sit down and watch television, is doing nothing, and the boy is with. Just be sure that when he grows up, he will do the same thing. So when parents complain, my boy is so lazy, he's sleeping, he's not waking up at 11, that is what he has seen his father and other men do. And because we are quiet about it, thinking he's a boy, they shouldn't go. Most parents suffer for the ripple effect of that in the future. So when we begin to be intentional, knowing that these little actions, you know, form the attitude, the character, the mindset of our boys, then we begin to pay attention. Even when they are younger too, if they're coming 10 times to say somebody beat me, you listen to them, you talk to them, help them to express. When boys are nurtured in an environment of love, they grow up to become so loving and wonderful beings. But when they're in a toxic environment, where they're always shut down, where they're always shouted upon, they can talk, they can express. Just be sure that when that your child is 17, 18, when he's in teenage, he won't talk to you about his issues. When things are going wrong, he will also talk to you. When he's married, he will also express to his wife. When things are going wrong, people are crying, he'll just be looking at you because he has been unconsciously or consciously taught not to express himself. So these are the things we are seeing in the society. Seeing toxic masculinity, seeing violent, aggressive men, all just boils down to upbringing and foundational issues. And I thank God for meetings like this where we begin to say, parents, let's be intentional. Most of these meetings, fathers don't show. If you look at the statistics of this meeting, you see that 80 or 90% are even mothers. Because that is the issue we are talking about. Because the men think they always know it. We have trained them to feel that you can handle it, you know it, you don't need to be taught, nobody needs to teach you, you're a man. They don't come for meetings like this. And so that's why we always talk to the mothers, because the fathers won't come. And that is a challenge. Even when you're talking about role modeling, who will this boy learn from? The man that doesn't attend meetings? The man that doesn't think anybody can teach him that he knows everything? Is that what he wants to learn for the future or for life? So I really encourage mothers, no matter how loving that your son is, we must begin to inculcate the right values and help him to be expressive in his emotions and help him to be groomed in that environment of love. You will be happy to see the kind of person your son will become if you're intentional about this. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. That was deep, Ebuka. That was very deep. And just as you were talking, I was just imagining what those children go through. Because that baby that was given birth to, and everybody was loving up on him, saying, oh, beautiful baby, carried him, and all. He could cry when he wanted to cry. You change his diaper. All of a sudden, you start shutting him. You start saying, you are a man. Man, don't do this. And before you know it, by the time they are getting to age 8, 9, 10, they begin to shut down. And they are being scripted to become somebody else. And that's why they can't show their emotions. That's why they now cover inside. They want to be, because if I talk now, they will say you are a boy, you are a man. Does it mean that men?
Yeah.
So what's happening? And you know, when you touched on that part of fathers are not here, fathers don't attend this kind of meeting and all. This still boils down back to that thing. Still boils down back to that upbringing, that it is the woman that takes care of the home. You are just in charge. Just make sure that you are giving them the money. You know, and we're talking about the textbooks.
Yeah, I can see a father here. We are saying that a good number of fathers don't attend. And if you look at the statistics, we have, I can bet you they'll have at least 80% of mothers. So we are not saying fathers. I've seen somebody say, I'm a father, I'm here. I really appreciate you. We are saying that very few fathers attend. And if you look at the statistics, just look at the attendance, you see they are mostly women. Maybe 2 or 3 men, and others are women. Thank you so much. I'm glad when I see fathers in this meeting.
Yeah, we always appreciate you. I'm sure you know, if you're not new here, you know that every family meeting, we appreciate the men that took time to attend, and we appreciate you. You are one of the people we need to build this community so that we can build a society that is changed. Thank you so much, Ebuka. That was very deep. And parents, you can hear that. Allow this boy to grow normal. Emotion is not for one, it's not for one gender, it's for everybody. Allow them express their emotions. Tell them to do things. We are human beings. Don't separate. Let them live, let them grow up like normal children. Thank you very much for that intro. I'm going to move to Dr. Princess now. Dr. Princess, hey.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm here.
so I want to be seeing your face, ma'am. So I want to
Okay.
ask, I want to ask, what are the things, or how do we build the right attitude in our boys? How do we build the right attitude? You are a mother, and you're an adult. We are upcoming. So how do we build?
I'm also a grandmother, and I have
Yeah.
3 grandsons.
Oh, awesome.
3 grandsons.
Beautiful.
And I might say 4 grandsons and 1 granddaughter.
Wow. So we want to hear that. How do we build the right attitude in our boy children?
Ebuka started well. Thanks so much, Ebuka. It's a pleasure also being on this platform with you and for the great work you're doing with the boys. He started saying about it, I'm talking about it, looking at upbringing, how we raise the difference between a boy and a girl. When children are young, they don't even really know what is a boy, what is a girl. Children come up, they're just empty, flat, empty, nothing, in them. They just come in and they are growing, they start cooing, they start wanting to listen to their mom's voice, follow her, with their eyes, and then they start sitting up. They learn everything from us. And mostly, of course, from the mother first, because that's the face they really see the lot. But then, parenting has been something that is so stereotyped, particularly, I was going to say Africans, but I discovered that through research also, you have these issues grounded in nearly every culture. Patriarchy is something that is grounded deep into all cultures across the world. And so it's so much more like the father is the breadwinner, the father is the protector, the man, let me use the word the man instead of the father, the man is the protector, is the provider. So his job is not to raise children. And so everything falls on the woman. It's a great misconception that has overlapped cultures for generations. And it's still an ugly monster, even into the 21st century. Why? Because the men that have been raised from the back past are still repeating the same patterns of parenting. What is troubling is that we're not realizing that these things are a challenge. I could give a personal experience of my father was not my friend at all, not in front of any of his children. He's the iron man, the lion who comes in and everybody wants into the corner and you have to quit. And you see, it's not so much his fault. He's been cultured that that's the way it is. He has to come in and everywhere has to tremble. And when he was now about 70, he wanted us to be his friends. It was difficult. It was difficult in his old age. But being Christians, we have been, our mind is, you've forgiven, you've done all of that, so we still tried our best. But that connection, it's difficult to do that at that age. I'm now an adult and I want to connect with a man who never connected with me as a child. And I'm saying this so that people realize that this cycle keeps continuing. You are now a young person. You are going to get older. And when you get older, you want your family around you, no matter how far they are. You see, it's not about distance. If there's a connection, there's a connection. We lose that connection right from parenting, right from how we raise them, because we are intentionally repeating. I use the word intentionally. Something happened yesterday night. My husband came home a bit late, and I was like, so why are you home late? And he said, you know what, sweetheart? I said, what? He said, I recognize today that I'm leaving my father all over. And I was glad that he could come to that realization, because that is what happens to us. You find that certain values that you hold dear are detrimental to you and to your family. You raise children, boys not to cry. You raise boys not to work. You raise boys, for me, all my boys can grind pepper on a stone.
Wow.
All my boys can pound yam with pounding. I'm talking of the mortar. Yes, now we eat ola, but they can pound. They can cook, they can go to market, they can bake. When I was having junior, they're the ones that will back. Oh, my boys back. They back and dance. They know how to back their junior sisters very well. So they were raised to understand that there's no, this one is girls' work, that one is boys' work. Everybody can do everything. There's nobody, there's nothing. And it's the same way things have been inculcated in them that they are also doing in their homes. Do you know what I mean? That's the boys' work. The boy shouldn't cry. Why can't you cry? Please cry. God gave you tear ducts. He would have said, okay, don't give the boys. At least when we're being created, there should have been some differences that will be very significant in us. But we have exactly the same thing. The only thing different in a male and female is the sexual organs. That is all. Everything that is in you is in the other person. But we raise them to believe that, oh no, water cannot drop from your eyes. I always say I love Oyibo people. I love Black American. Why? Because the man will cry in front of the whole world. Everybody will see a man crying. Now, I'm not even talking of acting. I'm talking of, you see a man weeping. And an African man will be like, why is he weeping? My father did that once in front of me in our village. We went home to visit. That was the first time I saw my father cry. It was a culture that he has to cry his own cry. That the man had been buried long. And now that he has come home, as the new head of the family, he has to cry. And I saw my father started crying, and I was looking at him. I think I was 13. I was looking at him like, what? You mean you can cry? I mean, I'm talking about wailing. He was wailing. But that was because it's a culture. Immediately he cleaned his eye. Nothing ever dropped in his eye again. But that's because we have conditioned them that, oh, this is how. And just like Ebuka said, in the molding stage of a child, the subconscious gathers a lot of information and it stays there. So without even consciously knowing that they're actually relating to how they were raised, they just react to things. They react to certain things. I mean, no, that can happen. Just say a guy, he's not thinking about to say, no, that cannot happen here. Why? It is subconscious response. That can happen. I'm a man. I'm the man in the house. If you want to give me money, you have to give me money with respect. I will give you my money with respect. It's my money, guy. It's my money, not money. You know, but you see, you have to give him respect. You know, when is their own is their money. When is your own is our money.
It's our money.
A woman's money is our money. A man's money is not. So the children watch all those interactions between parents. They're watching you. You are the first model in their life. And you're actually the greatest model in their life than even the outside world. Yes, you have planted some seed that the outside world will help you fertilize. It's from the family unit that we have to know how we raise our children, what we do, how we act. They are watching us and they are gathering those information to their subconscious in their molding years before they start reacting, before they go out to the world and now become teens. And then there are other boys who have also received either worse than what they had. They now mix up and then they create their own values. But it is based on the seed that we planted. So we have to be conscious that I do not want to raise a toxic, masculine young man who becomes a problem that now when he's now married, you cannot even control him. I mean, when I mean control, I'm saying that I'm talking of respect. When you tell your son, Otito is enough, you should be able to say, okay. But you see him say, I'm a man of myself. Why do I have to listen to you? You cannot come and run my own. You cannot come and interfere. You're not interfering, but that he has regards for you. That's when he begins to show that, man, you ain't got no regards. Forget it. That I'm the man of my house. I don't need you to come out. Because you're only stepping in to say, see, this thing you are doing, I think, and he's not listening to you. And then you begin to say, oh, somebody has bewitched your son. Your son is not hearing you. You are the one. Just as Ebuka said, you are the one. Everything we have sown, we are reaping. What you sow is what you reap. So what are you sowing? And how can you, remove the tares and the weeds at whatever stage you are? it is still possible to begin to bring, you see, it is very, very rare for you to see an African parent say, I am sorry, or I lied to you. Yes, if you come to find the truth or the facts about a thing, you can call your children to say, I used to think that this was right, but now I know it is not right. You are helping your children. Oh, because you have sown certain things and you want to begin to unweed them, you know? So you need to consciously, so your children, even for you to be able to say you are sorry, you thought something was right and it's not right, you are teaching your children values of integrity, values of, you know, you can be truthful, you can come back to say you are sorry when you discover that something you have done is not right. Because men don't believe that they are wrong. We are raised them to say everything a guy does is right. Like you said, he knows everything. What does he need to come to a meeting for? To come and hear who are the people who are sitting there who want to come and tell them how to raise their sons. They are men. It is a script that we have written over generations. But change, I believe that change has come. There are awareness, there is awakening, there's an awakening. I mean, we see Ebuka doing Save the Boy initiative. There's an awakening. There are many people doing a lot of things around boys. It's a lot of things happening around boys, actually. You know, a lot of things happening around boys now. And then there's a lot of support for the boy child too. It's a growing sector. And, you know, a lot have been on our girls. So, but we need to know, thank you so much, Ene. We need to know that we're in a different world. It's not the same. For me, at my age, I don't interfere even in my children raising their children. I watch them, I learn, because they are more of the awakening generation who want to do better, who want to not take the errors of their parents, take the good parts, what they believe is okay, I can take this, but I think I need to have more to add to it to raise a young man or to raise a child, whether it's female or male, who will be able to meet up emotionally. You see, that's what we miss. We think everything's about education. It's not only intellectual. They need emotional, they need spiritual, they need physical, they need social. So it is a lot of components that make up raising a healthy child. So it's not just, they have to go to the right school, put them in the right school, I need to do is put him in the best school. When I put him in the best school, you put a child, let me quickly say something. You put a child in the best school. This is true experience. And then your level in life does not match the best school. You have actually put your child into trouble. Because you raise the child who is in a school with a level that is far higher than their level. And then there is socialization going on within them. They know themselves. Let me give you an example. For example, everybody goes to France or to Europe for holiday, and that's not happening to you. And everybody comes back after summer, and your child did not leave Lagos. Probably maybe went to their grandma, like me, they bring them over, or they went to their auntie, you know, somewhere, but they didn't leave. And others are coming and they're all going to resume in the same school. And everybody's talking. Problems. Part of what we saw that we think we're doing the best. There's a lot.
True.
You have created self-esteem issues. You have created, you know, significant line drawn that we are never up to. So a child is going, I'm never up to. I can never be there. Meanwhile, he's in the same school, doing probably the same things with them. But there are a lot of emotional issues going on, underlying emotional issues going on that affects your child's esteem, affects their self-image, affects a lot of things, because you created a level that is higher than your child. Because for you, when they ask you, where's your child going? My child is going to American International School. You never leave here, go America. Let me stop there. I'm sure there are a lot of questions.
Oh, wow. I'm so enjoying today's meeting. Thank you so much, Dr. Princess, for touching on these sensitive places. You know, while you were talking, I was thinking in my mind, I was going to ask this question, so how do we help some men that are already, you know, that were raised in a particular way and are living this same life we're talking about. And you just touched on parents being vulnerable to their children, showing their vulnerability to their children, which is not common. You know, when we were growing up, you know, one of my coaches would say that we were actually domesticated. We were not disciplined because
yes,
we're
we're
made to
tamed.
go through, we're tamed. We were tamed. We were made to go through a lot of pains, and you can't talk about it. And so if daddy made mistakes in those days, daddy would be like, I'm the man. Who are you to tell me that? What do you mean? You know, this kind of a thing. You know, so and for this community we are raising, we're trying to raise parents that will come back to say, oh, I made a mistake in doing this.
Yes.
And I think I want to apologize. When we do that, we are helping those children to understand, just like Dr. Princess said, we are making them understand that you can make a mistake outside and come back home to say, this is what I have done. For example, at some point, I also had, you know, all this emotional, you know, when we say that who we are now is as a product of our upbringing, our significant emotional experiences, and the environments where we grew up from. And so all this boiled together made me somebody that was not bold. I like to keep to myself. I don't interact. Yeah. And I would just keep quiet. I didn't have friends. I was not friendly. And so I started seeing that in my daughter. When I started my journey of transformation, I started working on myself. I started talking and all, but I started noticing it in my daughter. My daughter is 16. And so I started talking to her, and she said, Mommy, I'm just like you. And I said, fine. You're like me. Because I didn't allow her mix. They don't go out, you know, just church, school, home, and all. And so just because I don't want them to be corrupt, I don't want them to be influenced, you know, all this protective thing that we do. And she said, Mommy, I'm just like you. I don't have friends. And she just be like, people don't like me. That was me. People don't like me. I'm not friendly. So I had to sit her down to say that, see, that was what I resulted. That was what I resolved to. And I'm grown now, and I understand that is not the best way to life. And so I am telling you not to do that again. You have to come out of your shell, because you have to mix, you have to interact, you have to live. You don't have to live a life of avoidance. We can make mistakes. And when you make mistakes, you come back home to say, this is what I have done. And, you know, so me coming down to let her understand that, see, this thing I have taught you is not correct. This is the way to it. So we are trying to raise a community, a group of parents where you can apologize to your children without feeling any pain.
Yes.
Because when you do that, you're helping those children. You're helping them
and it may be uncomfortable at the beginning.
Oh, definitely.
But you have to bear that. It will be uncomfortable. So for something you're not used to, it will be uncomfortable, but you get that. But the one thing I enjoy is friendship with my children, which I recognize from my own and my father, that none of his children was close to him. I was the only one, I think, in his last days that still tried to be, you know, and it was a conscious effort to be friendly with him till he passed at 83. But I also helped my husband to be friends to his children, deliberately pushing him, encouraging. So for the mothers who are on this, you know, on this platform, as we're saying, we don't have many men still coming out yet into the community as we're raising a new generation of, you know, parents. I think there's a way out to help your husbands to be friends to both their daughters and their sons, and particularly their sons who are looking at them. See, it's actually both ways. The son is looking up to his father as the model. The girl is looking up to the father as the first man. Yeah. The first male in their lives, you know, that they look up to. So it's a very strong, powerful role that the man carry. And that is why it seems that particular sector is so affected, and that is why there's a huge problem both for women and both for men, in the society, because you are the first man that your daughter looks at, and you are the first man your son looks at for the role model of manhood. So how you exude your masculinity becomes an issue if it is not well played, if you're not conscious. It's a consciousness that is wakening. You have to be conscious. I looked at my parents and I wanted to be better. My children are looking at me, I want to be better. So I want to, and that's the way it's supposed to be. Not, the better that we think of now is give them better education, wear them the best clothes, so that when we go out, that my children are fine. No, that's not what the children need. That is for your own. It's for your own psyche. It's not for them. What they need is to be raised properly so that tomorrow you will be proud. Like we said, it is you who will still enjoy whatever fruits come out, whether it is bitter fruit or it is sauce, or it is sweet, and you're looking at your son. You want to look at them and say, no, I tried. And you want to also push them in the different directions as they're growing older to where they'll get resources that will still be there, because it's a continuous process. You have sown certain seeds, there are what they need to cause them to germinate in the right way. So there's there's a lot of play along the way. So it's not just, we're holding this meeting, it's not a one-off, just, so, that's the question.
Thank you,
PF. I saw you on stage.
Thank you so much. Okay, so Ebuka, talking about all this, Dr. Princess mentioned intentionality. How can we help the fathers in the house? How can we help? You are working with boys, you interact with a number of them. So from the things those boys are saying, how do you think you can help the men in the house?
Thank you so much. Last day I was I was in the camp for boys, and each time I just talk with boys, I keep seeing this resentment for their fathers. But one day in a meeting, the boy raised his hand and said, I feel like killing my father before me. I've seen boys who handled an issue of a particular boy who kept failing JAMB because the father told him that you're a failure, and he told himself that I will make sure I don't bring any result that is passed to this house. All the results must be failed because I want to prove to him that I'm a failure. I keep seeing this gap between fathers and sons. And there's one scripture that always encouraged me, Malachi, I think 3:16, says, and I will restore relationship between the fathers and their children, lest I bring a curse upon the land. And we're seeing this curse upon our land because there's a serious gap. A serious gap. And always tell fathers, most time we want expectation, we are bringing so much expectation upon boys that they are not trained. You are telling a boy to do something that you have not taught him to do. And we are seeing that even in our nation. In our nation, I was even shocked to see the statistics of out-of-school children last year, to see that we have over 10 million out-of-school children. And you know that 62% of this number are boys. Over 6.3 million of those out-of-school children are boys. Really? And what is the implication for the future? And over 53% of this number are from the northeast and northwest. So when we see killing, insecurity, all of the crises, then what should we expect from boys that are out of school, that are not trained, that are left on the streets? What should we expect from them? So most parents put expectation over children that are not trained. I've seen resentment boys have for their father. I've seen boys that are out of the house because they don't want to even have contact with their fathers. And for me, it's even beyond the physical. This is a family unit that is responsible for what the society becomes, and the place of the father is critical. So when this home, when we are having this division and this tension, how can we communicate? How can we pass value? How can we mold it? How can we raise the kind of men we want to see? And so that's why our boys are on the street, because everybody wants to be led. I tell fathers, you think that boy doesn't want to be led? He wants to be led. Every normal boy wants to be led. Wants somebody he can look up to, he can talk to, he can share, he can learn masculinity from. If your boy doesn't even want to learn from you, there are mentors out there, because most boys want to learn from somebody outside of the family sector. And so because they want to learn, there's a vacuum on the inside that has been created. You know, they want to ask questions they can't ask. They are feeling somehow they can't even talk. I've been in training. I've seen boys of 18, 20 years. Nobody has ever talked to them about sex education. Nobody has groomed them. I was in a program and a boy of 21 was asking me when I talked about wet dream, nocturnal emission. He said nobody has ever taught him that. He has been depressed because he has been having wet dreams. And he has a father who has had wet dreams and is not talking to his children. I've seen mothers say, my husband is shy, you can't talk about it. I said, no, you should talk about it. You should talk about it. Why won't they be able to talk about it? And so they are learning on the internet, because the internet will teach them masturbation is good every day. They will share condoms for them everywhere. When you type on the internet, they will tell you something totally different. Horrible experiences. Yesterday, I was participating in a section on the, I don't even, it's really messy, you know, on homosexuality. And the rate that our boys are going into, it's not guided. Nobody is teaching them anything. And someone says, oh, it's a northern problem. Oh, it's a western. I say, no. Even Africa, in fact, there are 3 top countries in the world that view porn, gay porn, and they are Africans. And Nigeria is third in the world. So it's a pandemic right within us, but we are not even aware that we are in a crisis. And I say, fathers, when you are not aware you're in a crisis, then you will not do anything to deal with it. You can't prepare for a battle you are not aware of, and you can't win a battle you are not prepared for. So fathers need to understand that these children are longing for attention. There's a vacuum on the inside. Why do we have our boys on the street, in court, drugs, fraud? Why? Because there's a vacuum they are looking for. And since the father cannot fill that vacuum at home, there are people on the street. And I've told people, these drug dealers, these drug boys, these drug gangs, and one of the most loving communities I've seen. They will do anything for you. You can cry on their shoulder. Whatever issue you're going through, they will go and fight for you. They are always ready to listen to any issue you're going through. They can sacrifice anything. This is the same thing the boys are looking for in the home, looking for a man that will tell them, oh, this is what you're going through, you can do this way, because they lack that down the street. And that's how our streets are filled with young men on drugs, in courts, in fraud. What are they yearning for? An attention, an identity they cannot find at home. An identity that they cannot discover, that somebody cannot explain to them why they are feeling the way they are feeling, what they are going through. They can't understand it. The father is not explaining to them what they are seeing. If they are seeing a man who is not talking, is not expressing, but they can't understand because something is welling up on the inside, and they are being suppressed not to talk, not to ask questions, not to speak, and they can't understand it. So they're out on the streets with a group of people where they can talk, share, and really say how they feel and drink away their emotions. I tell people, all these issues some of our young men are going through, they just need love. Once you replace that vacuum the person on the street is giving, you have them back. And so that's why our boys are in deep mess in the home, in the society. And I tell people, look at the number of boys out of school. And we're even focusing on the wrong area. And we're crying of gender-based violence, we are crying of insecurity, we are crying of fraud. Even the money you have in the bank is not safe because somebody somewhere in Lagos or somewhere is siphoning with the system. And yet we are not intentional to say, why do we have over 6 million boys out of school? We are not focusing on that, and yet we can't sleep as a nation because we are in this pandemic of young men who have not been trained. I don't know, call me and say this. And what do you expect from a boy who has not been taught? We are not teaching them sex education. We are not telling them why they are having erections. We are not telling them when they are having crushes, what to do, how to have self-control. No conversations around that. We are not teaching them feelings and whatnot. They just learn from internet and learn from people, and they practice what they see, what they watch on the internet, what they see in pornography, and that's what our young men are just deep in because there's no conversation, there's no intentionality. I say to fathers, boys want to be led. I say it anywhere. Boys want to be led. Every boy is looking for a leader, a role model. If you position yourself and your son finds that in you, they can connect. Most of us want to correct a child that we have not connected with. You cannot correct a child you have not connected with. You cannot hit a child you have not taught. You cannot, so when there's no connection, there's no correction. And I always tell people, if you don't spend time meeting the emotional need of that boy, you will spend millions and a lot of time handling behavioral issues that will come as a result of the neglect of that emotional need. And I tell them, it's better you need emotional need, because when you are dealing with drugs or fraudulent activities or cultism, you will spend millions, and that's home you will stay and handle that case. What is really happening? Fathers need to be intentional. I don't know how community on Facebook called Men Connect Mentoring Community. We are being intentional. We're organizing a program that's happening soon, Fathers and Son Connect. We are being intentional about organizing programs for fathers. There are other communities organizing the Father Conference, and I want to talk to fathers. Let's be open to learning. Let's evolve. Let's evolve. As me, father that say, no, don't say that. My head is broken. That's why I'm white. That's why they broke my head. They hit me. See the scars I have. See the scars I have. That's why I'm a human being. That's why I'm correct. And I said to the father, if you need to hit another person because before that person to be correct, and if you feel you are correct because somebody gave you scars and hit you and broke your head, then there's something wrong with you. It's a wrong mentality already. But most fathers are not even aware of this battle that we are in. And so you can prepare or win such a battle. We must begin to evolve. Be open to learning. There are books for boys. So I've written a book for boys. The Journey into Manhood, the guide for boys. I'll be out in the next 2 weeks. There's a lot of books on the internet for boys, for fathers. This is my library. I have over 10 books. Intentional to learn. I'm reading, I'm evolving, I'm learning, relearning, For fathers, there are resources everywhere that will guide you into manhood. Let's be open to learning. Our bodies are in deep crisis. What will happen tomorrow? Look at what we are seeing. Look at the rate of divorce. Look at the rate of insecurity, because we are raising men who lack the moral values. What will not happen in the next 10, 20 years? What will the society become if we are not intentional? What will happen to our women and girls? I'm troubled. People are not seeing the reality of these things. How bad these things are. Our boys are yearning for attention. I tell fathers, learn, be open to learning. I live with boys. There are boys in my house, but I just came back. The breakfast is ready. There are a lot of, and I say boys are one of the most loving people. Once there's that opportunity, there's that environment for them to express, for them to learn. Most fathers don't even know anything about testosterone, the energy boys have that needs to be released, positively. We are not learning. We don't even know what is happening. When they have that rush, what is happening, the changes, and how we need to adapt in conversations with them. Father, let's be intentional to learn. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Ebuka. Intentionality, we cannot overemphasize that. We need to be determined to learn. Let's open our mind to learn. Don't let us feel too big to come down to learn. The truth of the matter is, from all that we have been told this morning, there is a fault in the way we were wired. There's a fault in the way we were scripted. And so we should accept this and come down to the level of learning and knowing. And for the fathers that are here, please, you can also influence your friends and let them know that all these problems we are going through, you guys, men should sit down and be real, be true to one another. Let us trace it back. There are times I said, when there was a time we were talking about beating children and all, and somebody said, if they did not give us all the Banu and all, we would not. They were using those things to reset our brains. But for how long? We don't pay attention to the side effects of all those things, and so we should not base our training, our parenting method. We should not base it on the way we were parented. It wasn't the right way. It wasn't the best way. Let us be intentional. Don't let us be shy to ask questions. Don't let us be shy to reach out to people. We always say it here, reach out. Now we have Ebuka here. You can reach out to Ebuka. You can check him. You can check Save the Boy. You can also reach out to us at Center for Sex Education and Family Life. Please, let us reach out. We need, like Ebuka said, this is the ripple effect of the way we're brought up. It's what we are seeing in our society. It's what we are seeing in our government. They are not emotional. They don't see it. People are dying. They don't see a big deal about it. You understand? So we need to now become very intentional. And just like Ebuka said, identity, it is the loss of identity in those boys that is causing all this misbehavior. All they needed is attention. They want to know who they are. And when they are not getting it, they just do anything that comes to mind. Please let us pay attention to all those things so that we can have a better society. And like you know, we are trying to build a healthy community. And these are the things we would need to build a healthy community so that we can cause a change in the world. We are raising world changers. We are raising global heroes. We are raising influencers. We want boys that are awesome. Just like we want girls that are awesome, just like we want girls that are empowered. We want to empower our boys too. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. We have touched on the emotional aspect. I want us to now talk about the boys' abuse. So when we are talking, they say it is the boy that is abusing the girls. The boys are this, the boys are that. And just like I said when we started, this boy, on his naming ceremony day, we celebrated him. We rejoiced, we carried him. What happened along the line? That means something happened. And that is to let us know that no boy just wake up to be an abuser. Something has happened. Something has been altered. Ebuka, I want you to talk about the abuse of the boy child. How do we prepare what is it about the abuse of the boy child?
Thank you. That is one area a lot has happened. A lot. I've handled cases of sexual abuse as low as 2 years, 4 years, 8 years, 10 years. Cases upon cases about sexual abuse of boys. It's an area that people think nothing is happening. Oh no. A lot is going on. I've even handled some cases where, since the person will deny, I have to set a trap to catch the person in the act. I've had first-hand experience. And you know what? When the pandemic, we had a lot of rape cases and issues. One of the things we did as an organization is I went down to the police stations and even to talk to some of the perpetrators of these acts. And I discovered that most of them were victims of sexual abuse.
Oh, yeah.
So we are just acting out something that has been deep on the inside of them, that they're just expressing different ways of violence, of anger, and revenge. You know one thing about sexual abuse of boys, because people feel, oh, how do you know it's abuse? How do you? Some people laugh. How did the penny stand? He didn't like it. Has he enjoying it? That's rubbish. I've counseled lots of young men. For most young men who are being promiscuous are from the ripple effect of sexual abuse. Because what sexual abuse does to the boy is that it opens them up to sexual behavior at a very tender age. And before they are 10, 11, they're already wide, having an uncontrollable desire because of what they've been opened up to. And most cases happen between ages 2 to 8. Yes, 2. I've had cases of 2 by house. And you know what? When I talk about the sexual abuse, people think I'm talking about men. Research have shown that more women abuse men than men abuse men.
Really?
Yes, research, proven research. And most of those women are the house helps and then domestic staff. I've been a 4 years old domestic staff, brought her the breast and the boy is always sucking it. I've had cases where the mother's younger sister has been molesting this boy from age 8 to age 14. The mother's younger sister, the aunt. So these things happen every day. But because they are boys, they are not talking, they are not expressing, they're even enjoying it with time. So they grow up to just begin to like women, and they can't close their eye to anything on skirts. The deep issues have been rooted in their foundation. And you know, it's difficult to detect when a boy is sexually active. Why? Because when girls are sexually active, you begin to see the way they make up, the way they're acting, they are concerned about their body. But when a boy is sexually active at a certain age, you know what happens to that boy? He begins to act more matured, he's quiet, because that thing is as if it catapults his age. If he's 10, the boy begins to feel that he's 18 or 20. Because that sexual act makes him feel that he's now a man. So instead of them to become wide, or begin to act strange. They begin to act mature in their mind. They are not doing things that men are doing, and so they are acting so mature and nice and calm. That is what it does to their psyche. So how will a mother, a father now know that my boy is sexually abused when he's not likely to show negative signs? The sexual abuse of boys is one thing I've seen in this space that has been so traumatic. Yes, you said 1 in 10 boys and 4 in 10 girls. But the 1 in 10 boys, because it's grossly underreported. How many boys talk about it? Very few. And thank God for the senior that passed last June, recognizing men as victims of sexual abuse, because even the law did not protect them. And so how will you talk about it when there's no law that protects you? Even when it was passed, how many police stations or even lawyers know that something like that has been passed? So no justice, so people don't talk about it. And if you're a man, how will you say a woman raped you or molested you? You know, be a man. And so I've had cases where this man was sexually abused for 6 years, and he said he told the mother when he started, but the mother shut him down. How will you say a man did that to you? For what? And the boy said, I shut down. And for 6 years, this man kept having carnal knowledge of it. And when you look at the boy, he has been psychologically and physiologically deformed. We can see it. We will still not clear to the mother that my boy is not acting like a man. You know, because we think it's a mirage, it doesn't happen. I've handled hundreds of cases of sexual abuse. And each time I talk about it, you see boys in their 20s, in their late teens, keep saying, sir, keep saying it. Might happen at 6, might happen at 10, might happen at 4, might happen at 8. They keep sharing dirty experiences. Some of them say, I've been depressed, I've been in pain. Because each time I see women, I just want to revenge, I just want to pour my annoyance on them. I hate them, and then I want to keep sleeping with them and keep making sure I deal with every woman that comes my way. I've seen a boy, a young man who has slept. I think I've slept with 100 and he counted everything because this woman took advantage of me at 8, and I vowed to do that to every woman I see. See, the ripple effect of sexual abuse on the mind of a young man is something I can't explain. You can see the pain and the passion, because I've had to sit to guide several young men through a journey of healing, and it has been traumatic. In fact, there's a time we ran a series on our social media handles, my sexual abuse stories. In fact, we stopped because the stories there are so many and so disgusting. Even you that's receiving it, you have to be careful of your mental health, because we hear these stories that you just be traumatized. You keep receiving stories from men all over, say, it happened to me. I am like this today. I'm promiscuous because of what that woman did to me. Let's watch it. When it's a boy, we feel nobody can touch him, and we leave the boy with any house gear, any driver, any baba, anybody that are walking around. But somebody send me a child and say, I like what I'm doing in my compound. When guests are outside, come inside. Are you a boy? Why are you playing outside? So boys can play outside unguarded, but girls will be inside because we think nothing is happening. And that's a lot of them introduced even to homosexuality. We see boys, please, boys are highly sexually abused. And speaking from experience and from a pain and a burden of the number of boys I've seen in this space suffering from the ripple effect of it. Be careful who you live with your boys. Not any house girl. A lot of people, 80% of them we are from house girls. House girls, at 2, house girls are the practical. They use even as small as their penis. They use the boys' hand, put inside their vagina, remove their breast for the boys to suck, put even the penis. I've caught somebody in the act using a 6-year-old penis inside her own vagina. It happens every day. And the boys just begin to enjoy it. And because I told them not to be expressive, don't talk, be a man. So when it happens to them, they're quiet, they're men. And they begin to act like they're not a man and do what men are doing. And so when you see a quiet, I thought it's so quiet, it's not talking. If your boy is not expressing, I'm not congratulating you. Because boys are meant to express, to talk, to be expressive. If he's too quiet, it's a problem. He has to talk. If you can get your sons to talk, then you're doing well as a parent. So when they're quiet, don't just say it's quiet, it's okay. No. Quietness is not a proof of morality. It's not a proof of morality. Please let them talk. I prefer they talk. Let's watch who we live with our sons. I can't share deep experiences that I've seen. Sometimes when I'm having the case, I just say, it's okay, can we continue tomorrow? Because the boy is sobbing, is crying. And most of them, I can't tell the parents, but if I talk to the parents, they will collapse. If you hear the stories, you will collapse. You will collapse. They will rush some of the parents to the hospital. I've seen boys, they don't talk to my parents. I mean, I even hate my mother. I hate my father because these things are happening. When I want to talk, they say I'm a man. They say keep quiet. There was no room for me to speak because that's what I keep asking each of them. Why didn't you speak? They say there's no room. I can't talk to my parents about it. Let's watch with people that are boys, please. They are abused every day. Be careful of the barber. Be careful of the driver. Be careful of the house girls. You can't be a house girl baiting your son for what? You shouldn't bait your son. You shouldn't bait them. You should bait your boys as a parent, as even fathers should be baiting their sons. They get to a certain age and say, fathers, bait your sons and begin to teach them. Let's also have sex education for boys. They're not telling our boys erection, what erection is. See, during the pandemic, I handled more cases of 8 to 11 on pornography. Before I used to handle between 13 and 16. But 8 to 11, most cases, because young boys involved in pornography, 8, 9, 10, 11, several cases, no guidance. They are not talking to them. What erection, feelings, emotions, crushes, they're not talking. You just see they know it, and they don't know it. They ask the internet and they tell them lies, and they believe in these lies. People must raise healthy boys. We must be intentional. And these are things we inculcate into our Boys Leadership Academy, another program to have for boys. Sex education, values, a lot of mentoring programs that are running for boys to see that will reform the mind of our boys and raise them to be the kind of men we want to see them be. But parents have a great load, especially fathers. There's a limit to which the woman can do. The boy is a woman has not had nocturnal emission or wet dreams in the best place. No matter how loving the woman is, the place of the man is sacrosanct. If your husband is not available, get mentors for your son. We are here at mentoring several boys, even beyond Nigeria. Get mentors. If you have to pay, pay. Pay too money now to do it. Yeah. The behavioral issues that come from it will cost you millions, and some of them have spent that millions, and those boys have not recovered. We must be intentional.
Yeah, that is why we say prevention is better than cure. You don't want them to experience it. Let's prevent it. Let's prevent it, because prevention is better than cure. You know, when you were talking about wet dreams and all, those boys, nobody is there to teach them. Nobody, you know, we had a program, we had a school tour some time ago, and we talk about wet dreams. And one of the boys wrote that he's even afraid because he believes it's a sin to have wet dream. You can imagine. And so he feels like a sinner anytime he has wet dreams. And we had to, you know, help him to understand this is part of the chemistry, part of the things that boys go through. It's just normal. And, you know, these are the things. And we just leave them to figure it out themselves. And we are now complaining, just like you said the other time, that the society, the expectation of the society on the boy child is so high, but the society is not even giving the needed information. And so how do we expect them to learn? It's so terrible, it's so painful how our boys are left to just grow up and be themselves. And so later we complain that they are women beaters, they are promiscuous and all. We need to be intentional. Ebuka also said that you cannot correct a child you are not connected to. We need to do this connection intentionally. Please, if you don't know about it, ask questions so that you can help to bring up your own children well. Thank you very much, Ebuka. Dr. Princess, are you still there? So, Dr. Princess, I want you to help us as a mother and as a grandmother, as a professional in the field of abuse, sexual abuse. How do we prepare our boys against sexual abuse? How do we go about it? What age can we start? What are the things we need to teach them about sexual abuse? Then I want you to also touch about sexuality. So in our schools now, Christian schools, I'm going to mention Christian schools. We are saying that boys and girls should not interact. They should not relate. So we leave them. So the girls don't go to the boys. They don't talk. Okay, they also have another way around it. So you don't want us to interact with the girls. Then we do boys. When you see boys, you won't think about it. But the truth of the matter is a lot is going on between the boys and the boys. So how do we teach sexuality, and how do we prepare our boys for sexual abuse? Thank you, Ma.
Social education starts immediately a child is born, actually. Immediately a child is born, like I mentioned earlier, the first person the child sees, follows you with the eyes, smiles, emotion, hugs, kisses, all of those things are part of, sex education. And when their penis starts rising, it starts even as a baby, erection shows up even as a baby. So it's not until a child is walking around that you'll say he has erection. And so you want to teach your child from very little as they are growing, conversations. As a child starts talking, once you start being able to express, you are teaching A for apple, please, P is for penis, P is for penis. And you have to be able to call that name. You need to work on yourself as a parent because we are the ones who have issues with certain body part names. So you need to work on yourself as a parent if you really want your child to survive in this world of sexual, what we are going to call the world that we are in now, that where we have multiple genders, where we have multiple sexuality styles, so you have to be able to be intentional and conscious about this, that you need to let your child know the right names for the body parts. It's not a PP, it's not, all those funny pet names. You need to call it what it is. And then men will really have to step up. I remember when my boys were entering their teens, their adolescent stage of where their bodies started changing. And being a sexual educator, I know I could teach them, but there are things, certain experiences I know I cannot explain to them. And I called my husband. Interesting enough, he's not their biological father. But I called him that you've got to help me with these boys. And he was like, what will I tell them? I said, you have gone through this. You see, so when it comes to the issue of women knowing how to talk to men, it's not a quarrel thing. It's not a fight thing. It is like help me thing. Help me. I'm a woman. What? Yes, I can tell the basics. I can teach him body parts. I can teach him, I can teach him privacy. I can teach him boundaries. But there are certain things I cannot go beyond because it's not my experience. It's not something I've experienced or will ever experience. So I don't know. But you are a man. You've gone through puberty. There were things that you wanted to ask questions about that you never got to ask questions about. So they are back in that same position. How do we handle this? The way you were handled, or we handle it better? And I will appreciate if you can take a step. I know it's not going to be easy for you, but I appreciate if you take that step. You see, it's a step that is taken, and that step is taken, and it gets easier. So men have to step up to help us raise the boys and for them to understand the sexual feelings that will come, with that. Now we're talking about 8 years old being hooked onto porn. We're talking about so much of exposure. Not every sexual abuse is penetration. Exposure is also abuse. When a child has been exposed to porn, I mean, you're awakening what should not be awakening them at that particular age. They are not matured and rightful, but it has been awakened. And so they have sexual urges, and then they want to satisfy it. And so we see gang rape, we see rape, we see hardcore guys, and they wonder why is this so hard? Why it does not have any emotion? It just wants to get his climax and get away. It's not confining how he does it. It's even happening in marriages. The man just wants to come. He comes, finish, end of story, babu, whatever remaining. It is how we have raised them. And so when it comes to abuse, with boys particularly, like we said, we're not making them express themselves. You've got to change. We've got to change that narrative. We've got to change that mood where we make sure children today want to talk, particularly 21st century children. They want to talk. Don't shush them. My son talks too much. Nah. There are people who are making money from talking. The talents we have are different. Our strengths are different. How we've been wired and made up by God is different. So don't stop them from talking. If you talk, let him talk, and let him express. They want to come back from school and tell you what happened today, but you are not available to even listen. And then when you are available, I'm tired. Can't you see I'm just coming inside the house? I tell parents, if you're just coming into the house, your children want to talk. They don't know whether you're just coming. They don't know what you have faced all day. So at the entrance of the door, dump everything you have, everything you are carrying from that work or wherever. Dump it at the entrance, the footmat. As you enter the house, it is their time. You give them, you see, and it's not so much of a time to give them, to listen to them, seriously. pull your shoe and just sit down for some few minutes, no matter how busy, no matter what it is that is still left in front of you to do. Make time for your children. It's so important. And then you need to have what we call in family, in family engineering. We need to have family constitution. You need to have, things about your family, goals. You need to sit down with your children. You need to have family time. You need to have what we call, we have the time out where your children come. You have the day where everybody comes and they are able to express themselves about what they like or what they don't like, so that you can strengthen your family. There's so many things. And with that, when anybody is coming into your home that you are allowing into your space, they already know what it is that your values as a family, what it is that is not acceptable in this house. This is how we run our family. It's either it pays you, it doesn't pay you. And it's something like now I'm alone with my husband, and so if I'm going to get a maid in because my grandchildren come around, I want to tell you how my home is run. You won't come in and be something else. There are boundaries. There are things. There are places you can't. There are just things that I will not tolerate, and that is the way it's supposed to be. Nobody comes into my space. When you come into my space, either you are going to follow how we live and how we abide, or you can't, whether you are a family member or not. And these are things that, it now seems like because it's 21st century, you want to tell me my sister cannot live with me, my brother cannot live with us. It's not about that. It is both of you agreeing how you want people to come into your space. It is an understanding so that we are both raising them. It's not one person that is raising and one person is the authority who does not partake in raising and then contradicts the person who is even trying to do the raising. So there's so much conflict that go on in the home front that negates the children, and particularly the boy child, because everybody is focusing on the girl child. We're focusing on the girl child and we're not focusing that our boys too can be endangered. And you've heard it. It's not only men who molest. Women are the majority. It's just the same thing with the girl child, where you have more men abusing them, but there are women who are also abusing them. So you have more women molesting and abusing boys than the men. And then we're talking about Christian schools, both secondary and even to the tertiary institutions, where you say the boys go this way, the girls go this way. It's a period in their life where, particularly when they go to secondary school, that is a peak period for children. Peak period for them in terms of sexual development. It is a peak period. There's the adolescence. That's the period where puberty comes. That's the period where, so even the schools need to have a topic that, sessions that are strictly for that. Teaching them about their sexuality, teaching them about what they will go through, teaching them about how they will manage it, teaching them about how they can control it, because it's controllable. And then you have children who think that it's not controllable. I can just, when I want it, when I want to do, I do. And then they, like we said, they seek for other means to have understanding. And it's not only even online. Friends, peers, who will tell them that, I know how I do it too. And then, of course, somebody who wants to relieve himself, he's carrying all that sexual tension and he wants to. And he, of course, he's going to do it. And so we're exposing our children to the very danger that they should not be exposed to this. And then when they come home, whether it's boarding and your children come home, please, you need to have that conversation with them. And women can only try when it comes to boy child. You can have the basics of sexual education. The men need to step up. I tell you, you need to step up for your son to understand wet dreams. The way a man is going to explain it can never be the way a woman is going to explain it. Because wet dreams is not my forte. It's not my fault. I have never had wet dreams. But a man, you've gone through puberty. You know what you faced at that time. It is easier for you to explain to your child, even approaching the first girl, how clumsy it can be. How, am I going to say it right? Should I walk up to her boldly? Should I say I like her? Or I should not say so? Even first sex. These are conversations. We need to get to that place where we can drop our inhibitions. You see, the challenge is we have those inhibitions based on our upbringing and socialization. I mean, like I can remember the first time my own children come close to me to say I had my first sex. Of course, I had to sort of control myself on my inside and be the mom that they need at that time. When your children, you see, but if you are not open and close to your children, so much is happening that you will never know. But it's easier to know and to help. There is a place where you will still be hard to say, no, I don't think I appreciate this, but you need to still be that person who will be a friend, who will be a mom, who will be a pal. You need to be that. You will have that closeness with your children that you never had with your parents, that you think you have, you know. Yes, they won't tell you everything, but they will tell you what is important. They will tell you what is important. They will come to you and share with you. I look forward to my daughters, the ones who are married now, share their pain, I share their pains, I share their good news, I share my sons. Will after a while just call, Mom, I need to talk with you. Okay, and we'll have that chat. And I will say, okay, I don't think you should do this. I even direct them to programs like this. I've shared it with them. See, this is going on. See, this is going on. Raising disaster. This is that. Go there. This is how. I push them and I send them direction, not imposing on them, but stylishly just pushing them through. The same thing with my husband. I say, yeah, we are grandparents, but hello, did we do very, there are times you sit back and want to ask yourself questions, which we don't do as Africans. You need to sit down and evaluate yourself, maybe quarterly. How are we doing as parents? Have I really tried as a father? Did I do that? What I did, was it right? As a mom, did I not push my child away with that? These are things that we need to do on a regular basis. And then look at certain scenario. You are hearing boy child is being abused. It's the same thing with the girl child. There is sexual abuse happening every day in different forms. And then you're having children who are becoming homosexuals, bisexual, lesbians, all kinds of sexualities that exist, and all kinds of gender. And now, particularly with Christians, it's coming home. I mean, it's right in the home with us, where your child will say, I'm bisexual, Mom. I like both boys and I like girls. What do you want to do? I always ask, what will you do? They're adults now. What do you want to do? Oh, okay, we have been waiting for you to bring a wife. And they say, but I've been coming around. Mommy, okay, maybe it's time to let you know. But you know, Dayo, that we live together. My best friend, this is my best friend. It's actually my wife. We need to wake up to that call, to know that sex is something God created. I call him the author and finisher of sex. Sex is something God created. And when we wake up to the fact that it is something God created and it's a good thing, and he gave them penis and he gave them vagina, and we need to let the little child know what this penis can do, I cannot do. Remember, there's what we call also age-appropriate sexuality education. So it's not, there's what you will tell 1-year-old and what you will tell the 10-year-old. It's not the same thing. And with that, you just need to get the right materials. I believe that Preschool International has some resources on that.
Yes,
I think I have a book on how to start. I also have an ebook on that. Yeah. Yes, they have a whole sexuality education kit. I have a book on, I have an ebook on how to start the sex talk. I also, as a MediaCon, also has a book on me, my body, and my sexuality for adolescents. There were questions that were raised. That was really a scientific book that was done for young people by young people and answered by experts. Questions were answered by experts. So these are materials that are available, and there are a lot of materials available. The ebook I've mentioned some. Sexuality education, the family life, so they also have that. That's from Preschool International. There are a lot of resources, kits that you have that you can partake of and share it. We need to wake up to make sure that we're not raising problematic adult men. And we need to nip this at the bud from now as their children. And there is no way you can. How can we be directed to this resources? Okay, I'm sure Ebun will do that. I'll probably also send my link to her so that if anybody wants the ebook and the other book, it's easy to access. So we need to know that we can raise healthy young men. We can. It's a battle, but we can. We can do it. We can raise young men who will be sexually healthy, emotionally healthy, spiritually healthy, physically healthy, and intellectually healthy. We can do that. So, thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. Dr. Princess has touched on a lot of things on how we can help our children prevent sexual abuse and how we can teach them sexuality. You know, she also mentioned something about family constitution. She said something about family meeting, having family values. This is what we teach in our Institute of Family Engineering and Development. If you're interested in understanding all these things, family constitution is their rules, their constitution, just like we have Nigerian constitution. Their constitution you put in place and you put in a place so that any visitor that comes into the house sees it. And if they are not going to comply by this constitution, then you will excuse them. You know, these are the laws, the rules that guide the function of your family. Then family values. When you have family values and you instill those values on your children, on every citizen of your nation, we call the family a nation. When they get outside, they are your ambassadors. And this is what we are saying, changing the societies with in our own way, instilling our own culture. Dr. Princess also mentioned family, having a family meeting. Family meeting is one beautiful thing that I will encourage. It can be once in a month. It can be once in 2 months, where you sit down as a family to discuss everything. So the children will come, talk about what daddy did that they did not like. It's not a time for you to defend yourself. It's a time to say, oh, I did that. Oh, I'm sorry I did this. This is why I did it. But if that's not the interpretation you got, I'm very sorry about it. And you correct it. That's where you sit as a family to discuss all those things. And as a family, we also need to be conscious of the age-appropriate movies we expose our children to. We are in the days of Netflix. There was a time where in the days of DSTV, family, all those things they show on DSTV. And the truth of the matter is, there was a time we had a meeting with these producers, is it Nollywood, these Nigerian filmmakers. And we were telling them, so this thing about sex is becoming too much. And they said there's nothing they can do about it. The only thing they can do about it is to say this is not age appropriate. They have put the age range. It is now left to us. Movies where we have age 13. Why are you allowing 8-year-olds sit with you to watch? Movies where we have age 18, age 16. Why are you allowing your 14-year-old sit with you to watch? This is where it starts. We need to, so that you don't expose those children. You know, Dr. Princess mentioned it's not only by penetration that you abuse your children. You abuse them by the things you also expose them to. And we need to be very, 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 very careful about all those things. It's been a wonderful ride with you this morning. Thank you, Ebuka. Thank you, ma'am, Dr. Princess. My respect for you every time, ma. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful outing. And I want to believe that the parents out here, you are able to take 1 or 2 things from this meeting. Ebuka, please, you can check on Ebuka on the Instagram. Just type his name, Ebuka Obika, or Boys Coach, Save the Boy Child. You will see him there. You can also reach Dr. Princess. Ebuka,
Save
please,
the Boys Initiative.
Okay, can you please drop your... Thank you. Please drop your link on the chat room, and so that people can contact you. We also have a training coming at Praise Forward International. This is the umbrella body of Center for Sex Education and Family Life. And this training is about the new rules of parenting. We have new rules. As you all know, that we are in the age of Generation Z and Generation Alpha. And the truth of the matter is, from everything we have discussed this morning, you know that you can't use the same method with which you were trained to train your children. And so our upcoming training, it starts next week, actually, next week, Sunday. And this is teaching parents, it's a coaching program on the new rules of parenting. You're going to learn a lot of things. You're going to understand the personality of your children and how to handle your children. You're going to, the first thing for the first day, the first week, you're going to be taken through the process of healing. Because if you, like they used to say, hurting people hurt people. And we have a lot of limiting beliefs that we carry as parents. So the first week, you're going to go through the healing process, where parents are going to go through healing process. You're going to be made to see where you got it wrong, where your parent got it wrong, the pains you carry, and you're going to go through the healing process. This training starts next week. If you are interested, I have dropped the link. I have dropped the link in the chat box, or you can reach me directly on the phone number that I dropped, or you can reach us on www.iampraisedforwomen.com, where you can have access to the training. So I'm trying to drop another link where you can have access to the training, www.iampraisedforwomen.com/coach parents. We need to start operating as coaches to our children. And you can also reach me. So for this training, we have, the training is actually 85,000 Naira, but we have assisted program where we will allow you to spread your payments. You can spread your payments and do the payments 4 times. This is just to make it easier for everybody. This is just to make everybody, give everybody access to this thing. It is not about the 85,000 Naira you're paying. It's about what you are gaining, the knowledge and how to, we all want a better society. And so when you look at the chat box, I have dropped the link to the assisted program where you'll be allowed to spread your payment for 4 times. You can pay 20, you can pay 24 times, and maybe on the last day in the last month, you can pay 25,000. And I want to believe you also agree with me that for that training assisted program, we have really, really tried. And I want you to embrace that. And you can also see Ebuka's links on how to reach him, and Dr. Princess link, the link to access Dr. Princess in the chat box. It's been a wonderful time. And I want to say thank you. Thank you so much, Ebuka, for this beautiful time. Thank you, Dr. Princess, for your time. I appreciate you. I know you're a very busy person, and you have created this 2 hours of your time of the day. You're supposed to be resting. Last week we were talking and you told me how you have gone from Sokoto to Lagos and you've been going back and forth. I ask that the Lord will continue to strengthen you and uphold you. In Jesus' name. Ebuka, thank you. Ebuka was on the TV show this morning, and he has to rush home to join this meeting. Thank you so much for all you do. I really appreciate it. Families, I want you to say thank you to Ebuka.
You're doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I want us to
appreciate so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. I've started following you, Mr. Ebuka, so I'll be talking with you.
Okay. All
this
right.
is Mrs. Adaji. Thank you so much.
Mrs. Adaji, thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are going to take our picture. We're going to take our picture for the month. Please, I want us all to release our videos. I want to see our beautiful faces in the videos. Hi, Becky.
Some of our faces are not so much.
Don't worry. Emmanuel, we are ready for our pictures. Emmanuel, are you there? Hi, Israel Anu. How are you, sir? Good morning.
I'm very fine, ma'am.
Uncle Israel, thank you for sharing the link with us. This is Jubilee.
All right, ma'am.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Thank you. Let's connect. Please, let's release our videos and let's take the picture. Emmanuel, we are ready for the picture. Unwana, how are you? Release your picture, your face. Let's see.
Okay.
Hi, good to see you. Amalala, hi, good to see you again.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to be part of this program.
You're welcome. Oh my God, Mr. Zeal in the house. Good morning, sir. Nice having you here, sir. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining in.
Thank you to Zil for inviting me.
Thank you so much. All right, Emmanuel, are you done?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. So thank you very much, everyone. We look forward to hooking up with you next month. Next month, we're going to be celebrating the Father's Month. June is a month for fathers, and we're going to have a beautiful time in the house to talk about fatherhood. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a beautiful weekend ahead and a beautiful rest of the day.
All right, bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.